If this is your first time listening to the Positively Joy podcast, welcome. We're so glad to have you, and we'd love for you to become a part of our online podcast family. So please subscribe or hit that follow button wherever you listen to podcasts. Or to receive updates emailed to you, text the letter P and the word joy, P-Joy, to 22828. And you'll get exclusive updates about upcoming episodes, contests, and all sorts of great things. If you're a crafter and you watch YouTube, then you just might know those opening chords to a very popular show called Posh Paper Lady, hosted by a very talented paper crafter named Sherry. Sherry shoots out of her little she shed in the backyard of her Charlotte, North Carolina home, and she brings in thousands of people to watch her make all different kinds of things created out of paper. Whenever I watch her show, I see how much joy she brings to her fans and thought she needs to be on the Positively Joy podcast, and she graciously said yes. So today we're going to find out a lot more than you might know about Sherry, and there's even a surprise at the end, so hang in there. All right, here we go. Hello, and welcome to Positively Joy, the podcast on searching for the light and joy in all seasons. I'm your host, Yvette Walker, and I'm so happy about today's guest. She is a rarity, to me anyway, in the YouTube world, and she is Sherry of Posh Paper Lady. Sherry, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you for inviting me, Yvette. It's actually a privilege. It's an honor to do this. I've never done one before, so I am thrilled for this to be my first.
Wow, that's really, really great. Now, Sherry, you go by Sherry, and you normally do not use your last name, and I did not know if we wanted to do that today or not.
Well, I actually use two last names. My last name before marriage is Williams. My last name after marriage is Jones. When I'm doing business, I use Sherry Williams. When I'm doing stuff with the family, I am Sherry Jones. So you guys will know me as Sherry Williams.
All right. Well, Sherry, I want to start off by reading something to you, and It is by one of your fans. It was a comment. Oh, and I don't remember if it was a comment during the premiere or just a comment on one of your pages. But her name is Margaret, and she says this, and you were obviously making something amazing. This is why I'm finally going to get into crafting. Someone who shows passion and wants to teach others. Thank you so much. And that, I think, is a really good description of how many of your fans feel about you. It's a real family community, and you always say, you'd love us to join your online crafting family. And so, what I can see is there are many people there who truly feel that way. So let's talk a little bit about what you do. Explain exactly what your channel, Posh Paper Lady, is all about.
Okay, so what I do is actually called 3D paper crafting. And that means that I'm not paper crafting in the flat. I am paper crafting something of dimension. It's usually three-dimensional in what I'm doing. So for me, I have all the bells and whistles, the machines that can do the paper crafting for you. But I am a hands-on paper crafter, so I like taking my paper from the raw paper stage all the way to a finished craft. So paper crafting is really just for me, paper crafting is making something useful, not just making something pretty, but something that can be used in everyday life, something that can be given as a keepsake gift, something that has a purpose, and I'm not just crafting for the fun of crafting. I love to paper craft this. I hope it comes across when I'm doing it, but I like for my items to have longevity. So it really is all paper-based crafting.
And we are talking boxes, we are talking notepads, we are talking purses, we are talking little little, I don't know what they're display, almost like a display platform. I mean, just the kinds of things that you wouldn't expect to be made from paper.
Right.
I can't think of anything that you can't make.
Well, then that's a challenge for me because when I see things, I always ask myself and I challenge myself, can I make that out of paper? Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not, but I'm always willing to try it. So a lot of people won't believe that certain things are made of paper, but they genuinely are made of paper and they are made to last.
Mm. So you bring such joy to your YouTube audience, and that's why I asked you on this show. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's what I think of when I see your premieres, especially now your premieres where you are live chatting along with the premiere of the
Yes,
video.
I
Um,
am.
there's just a joy. People just they love talking to you. They are commenting in real time, and then you are responding to the comment. So anyway, that I mean that's why you're here. So tell me, why crafting? How did you get into it?
Well, I've always been, I'll call myself an artisan. I've always enjoyed art of some type, but I think my love of working with my hands originated with my dad. He was an amazing crafter with his hands. There was nothing the man could not do. My father died in 1993, but he left a legacy throughout the city of North Carolina. I mean, he would craft items. He would have orders for his items, and he mainly worked with wood. And he could take anything old and just refinish it. It was amazing what he was able to do. So just watching him with his hands, watching the craftsmanship and the quality that he put into his work. And so for me, knowing that I love to craft anyway, my love of paper crafting really grew when I had my oldest daughter in 1986. Mike and I didn't have a whole lot of money in 1986, but there were so many people who were important in my life and important in my new daughter's life and in Mike's life. And I wanted to be able to give nice things to them. And plus, I also wanted my daughter, when she started having birthday parties, to have that party where everybody wanted to be at that party. So I started with just plain old poster board and wrapping paper, just making things and giving them away. And from that, it really turned into what it is today. I mean, people would always not believe that I made this from wrapping paper and poster board, but it was true. And so it just grew and grew and grew. And of course, materials became so more readily available, better qualities, fewer papers, chipboard. I mean, when chipboard came out to us in general, my life was changed because it was what I had been waiting on, chipboard. So it
And
was
let's just tell our audience, chipboard is basically a very firm version of cardboard. It's a firmer version.
and it's non-corrugated, so it won't bend like cardboard will. It is truly what I prefer to work with when I'm crafting.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how it grew. It just grew from being a new mom who wanted to do the best for people who were instrumental in supporting me and this new baby and my new life as a mom. Just all of that. The teachers that my daughter would interact with, just being able to give them something handcrafted, but not look like I threw macaroni on a piece of board and glued it down and handed it. Something that would mean something.
We talked about some of the kinds of creations that you make. Um, you are famous for some. You're famous for your skinny minis, your skinny notepads, and I found last year, I kind of went back and I was just looking at some of your earlier ones, and I found these three-dimensional paper snowflakes
Yes.
and made several of those for my tree and gave a few away too. How do you come up with these? Every
Okay,
day I wonder.
so the paper snowflakes are not my original idea. The paper snowflakes have been around for a long time, and I used to be a part of a crafting club, and I learned about the paper snowflakes from one of the other ladies that was in the club, and so we made them as our monthly project. So I want to make sure I put that out there that I don't take credit for that. I don't even think she can take credit for it, but it's always been one of those things that's out there. For me, sometimes the challenge of the moment is inspires me to create. And I'll give you an example. My paper purses. When I started making paper purses, my paper purses started because Mike and I were going out to dinner one day, and we drove by a Walmart, and there was a whole family, children included, and they had a sign. They were homeless, didn't have a place to stay.
Mm.
So we kept driving, and it just bothered me the whole meal. Here we are going out for this nice meal, and these people don't have. And we still went out to eat. And when we came back, we were driving back, and I had already said to myself, if they are there when I get back, I'm going to do something about it. So we drove by. I didn't tell Mike what I was planning. We drove by. We went home, and I told Mike, I said, I'll be right back. So I only had like $8 in my purse. So I went up, and they were Hispanic, but the daughter spoke English. And I asked her what was going on, and she said that their car had broken down. They were on their way to Texas. They had used all of their money, and they were sleeping in the van. And it was a mom, a baby, the little girl, the grandmother, and the father, all of them sleeping in the van. So I went over to the mother, and I gave her the money that I had, because, that was truly the least I could do.
Right.
But then that wasn't enough. So there was an in-town suites hotel, and I told them, if y'all would just follow me. And I went to the hotel, and I gave the guy my card, and I said, I'm going to pay for a week so that these people don't have to stay on the street. So then when I got home, and I kept thinking, I need to do more. I can't give all the money I have, but I have a gift to earn money, and I need to do more. So I started telling some of my coworkers at work. Everybody wanted to contribute. So that's how the paper purse was born. I wanted to make sure that I would give these people something really beautiful for something beautiful they were about to do. So I designed my paper purses, and I filled them with all types of goodies. And I took them to work, and I think I took about 20 to work, and I was selling them for $75. I sold every one of them.
Wow.
And I sold every one that day, every one of them. And I don't know if people were buying because they were beautiful, or people were buying because they wanted to help. And probably a combination of both. But with the money that I was able to earn, I was able to help this family even more. And then other people stepped in and helped them. And other people stepped in. The father was able to get a temporary job as a janitor at a local church. And then he was able to save up enough money, and they were able to make contact with the relatives in Texas. So it all had a happy ending. But like I said, usually when I'm crafting something unique and something new, it's born out of some type of a challenge that I want something special to help me meet that challenge. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a great story, but it shows that this kind of crafting to you does not have to be frivolous. You know what I mean?
No, it does not have to be. It shouldn't be.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So we were talking about your online family, and I kind of mentioned the premieres, but it's the opportunity to basically debut your video and be there live when people are watching it for the first time. And so I know again, I'm not sure if this is new to YouTube, but I know you started doing this fairly recently. And tell me about the energy you feel when you are interacting with the people who come to your channel every day.
Okay. I think that Premieres has been around for a couple of years on YouTube.
Okay.
I happen to find it because I'm always searching YouTube for ways that I can make my channel better. And this just happened to pop up. So I thought, okay, well, let me try it and see how it works. I can try it once, and if it doesn't work, I won't ever have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely love the premieres. I didn't know if I would, because most people would not even think this about me, but I am an introvert at heart. My natural state is to be an introvert. I can be by myself all day and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had a problem speaking to people, but my preference is I can just be alone and be fine. But when I do the premieres every day, it amazes me how quickly they're over, because just the interaction, the energy that you guys bring to the chat, it's almost like you have found this whole bunch of friends from everywhere that you, in any other circumstance in life, probably never would have come in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing of papercrafting brought you all together. And then you realize just how much actually have in common with people you probably never would have met were it not for this. And when I am interacting with people, my responses back are genuine. When they say something that's touching to me, it really is touching. It's just been an amazing ride. I never thought that in a million years this would be me doing any of this. So it's been amazing.
Wow. Now I can see your head and shoulders right now, but on your channel we normally only see your hands and your beautiful blue nails. Has that always been your calling card, and why blue?
Okay, so I love blue. And in particular, I love cobalt blue. I always have. And I used to work in corporate America, in very conservative corporate America. And every now and then I flash some blue. And you always get, the looks, because it wasn't the norm for people to come into the office with blue nails.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always loved blue. And I've always loved blue nail polish. So when I started on YouTube, I thought I'd better play it safe and go conservative. So in my earlier videos, you guys won't see blue nails, because I just didn't know, first of all, if YouTube was ready for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if they were ready for the flavor and the difference I would bring to the paper crafting community. And I think maybe 10 or 12 videos in, I decided two things. I'm not cutting with scissors anymore. I'm using what I know, which is my orange finger blade. I was struggling cutting with scissors because I knew that's what everyone used, and I was trying to conform. And I'm painting my nails my natural color, which is blue. So I made that change. I said it on the channel. Sorry, guys, I'm not using scissors anymore. This is what I really craft with. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm going to use. And then my nails converted to blue, and that is my color. That is one of my favorite colors. And I just love the way blue nail polish looks on my hands. So that's it.
Well, I think you probably converted a lot of people to the finger blade. I have not gotten one yet. I keep looking at it. I don't, I'm always afraid that I might cut myself.
No, really a very easy tool to use. It can be intimidating when you first try it, but it really is very easy. And it's easier for me to use than scissors.
Okay. Well, and you want to feel completely comfortable and at ease, because you will produce your best work that way. Right. So, there may be some people listening who are not paper crafters and really don't know what we're talking about. But they probably have seen other YouTube channels. There are many, a million YouTube channels out there. You just mentioned wondering if YouTube was ready for you, and difference. And so, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by your difference?
Okay, I mean several things. So before I joined YouTube, mostly everything was quick. Let's get it done. Let's make it one single layer. Let's make it quick and easy, not necessarily functional. I don't want to bash other channels, but as a 3D paper crafter, that was my observation. And I saw it across the board, and I saw that that's what viewers seem to be demanding. We want fast, quick, and easy. So for me, it took me a long time to get to the point where I would actually do a YouTube channel. And it's only because of my sister Denise that I'm actually doing this YouTube channel, because of her strong encouragement, telling me that I was perfect for YouTube and people are ready for what you're offering. But for me, I didn't think that my style of crafting would be the style that people wanted to gravitate to for several reasons. One of them being, I don't do the most low-cost crafting when it comes to what you need to get a finished project. And I don't do and my crafting can be a little bit labor intensive sometimes. So all of those things made me think that, okay, people aren't necessarily ready for this person's style of crafting because the condition had been set of fast, quick, and easy. And not necessarily are we, it used to be that we were crafting for functionality. And then it seems like the community got away from that, and we're crafting for the cuteness of what we get when we die cut something. And another reason why I wanted, when I decided that I wanted to join YouTube, another reason for joining was because I wanted to teach fundamentals of paper crafting. I have probably every machine that's ever been made, but if that's all I had, then I don't know anything about paper crafting. I know how to go and press a button and get an end result. I don't know how to sit down and score a piece of paper, measure that paper out, figure out that angle to make what it is that I want. And that was my goal when I joined YouTube, was to make us not so machine dependent, but to be able to paper craft from the word go, and then those machines become an enhancement to the craft. It doesn't become the craft itself. And for me, I might sound a little preachy now, but for me, I saw where there was just too much dependence, and there is too much dependence on machines. Everybody thinks they've got to have that machine, they've got to have those guys, and my whole point is you don't. They are a great supplement, but they are not the be-all and end-all of paper crafting. To me, my hands are. I can do more with my hands than I can do with my career. If that makes sense.
Oh, sure, sure. So you mentioned your husband Mike, and you just mentioned your sisters. I really like that you talk about your family on the channel, and I think that your followers also enjoy that too. I think that one day, everybody probably wants to know what Mike looks like, and and your sisters. Um, it's a part, I think, of your appeal. Did you do that from the beginning, or did you ever feel like I don't want to reveal too much?
From the beginning, I was more reserved. I think I first started talking about Mike when I did the tour of my craft studio.
I just watched that again today.
That was when I think I first mentioned his name. I'm not really sure. But Mike is a big part of my crafting. And he's a big part of why crafting is accessible to me now. It's so much easier for me now. So I do talk about him. And my family has always been a close one. I am from a family of 7.
Mm.
And one of my brothers has since passed away. But we were always very, very close. And I have 3 other sisters. And we remain very close. We don't all live too far from one another. So my family is very important to me. My daughters, of course, are extremely important to me. But just the whole family and the extended family with my nieces and my nephews, all of that is extremely important. So I decided that from time to time I would interject just little tidbits here and there about the family.
Okay. And so you have 2 families. You have your personal family and you have your online family. And like any family, your online family sometimes can be a little crazy, a little dysfunctional. But you try and keep the family together. How do you do it?
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And what I have discovered, like any good mom who has raised her children right, it ain't my kids acting up. It's usually the neighbor's kids coming over into my yard acting stupid.
Uh-huh.
So that's normally what the problem is. When I have issues on the channel, it really isn't people that are interacting with the channel because they want to be a part of the channel. It's outside forces coming in and trying to be disruptive. And just like with any naughty child, sometimes those outside forces have to be put in timeout. Sometimes those outside forces need a little bit of spanking. So that normally is the way that I deal with it. And one of the things that I will say is that when I joined YouTube, I didn't think that I would even encounter this. Because for me, it's just papercraft. We're on here to have a great time. I didn't think that I would encounter what I have encountered from viewers as well as other channels. I have been disappointed in that realm as well, but you take the good with the bad.
I wonder, have you found an uptick in your followers since the pandemic?
Yes, I
And
would say yes, I have. I think that people are looking for positive outlets to be able to not even think about the pandemic. People have been, quarantined at home for so long or limited on what they are able to do. I think a lot of people and most other channels of quality have probably seen it as well, where people are looking for good diversions to what's going on in the outside world. Because, the pandemic is one of those things that is so unfortunate. And it's so unfortunate. Should it be where it is today? Probably not. But it's one of those things that will happen in humanity from time to time. And it's one of those things that through God's graces we will get through it. We just need to remember that we're all human. We're all in this together. There is no us. There is no them. Everybody is in this pandemic together with the same boat. And we should do everything we possibly can to steer that boat in the right direction. There is no us or them.
and so a guest of mine at one time talked about activating your joy. So how can crafting help do that?
Well, for me, and I'll speak on how it activates my joy, because we all have days where you wake up and you're in the best of moods probably, and then something will happen and bring you down. And I'll use my recent situation as an example of that. And I spoke on this on the channel when all of that ugliness happened, and I went offline for like 3 days because I really had to regroup, pray and get my mind right to come back and deal with all of that ugliness. I wasn't just sitting around watching TV. The best way for me to activate my joy is to create. The best way for me to activate my joy is to put my hands on this, some paper and some glue, and sit down and create. And I think it's such a satisfactory feeling for anyone. Even if you're watching a YouTube video and you're not the designer of that item, if you're watching a YouTube video and you create it, you watch me make something and you're able to make it, it's just such a rewarding feeling that you just made this and maybe a week ago you didn't know how. So for me, I think that creating, getting your hands in there and doing it and then making it, how can it not bring you joy? How can it not make you forget about whatever's been bothering you that day? Because truly, when I'm crafting, I lose myself in the craft. I don't care how bad the day is. I don't think about anything else but what I'm actually doing. And by the time I finish, I feel a whole lot better.
That's great. How is faith important in your life? And do you have a favorite scripture verse that relates to the season that you're walking through?
I have a favorite scripture that relates to not the season that I'm walking through right now, but it was a very trying season that I walked through when I was in corporate America. And Brad, if you're listening, this is for you. So,
Okay.
but I had, and he knows it because anything I'm going to say to you, I actually said to him. I had the worst manager that ever walked the face of this earth.
Mm.
And I have never met a more mean-spirited person who just by the grace of, just by getting up in the morning, could not appreciate what others could bring to the table, would allow his lack of affect how he treated other people, would allow the fact that a female might know more than him be detrimental, and set out to purposely make that female's life miserable from the time that he walked through the door. So there were some real trying times that took place, and it was a horrible season in my life. But I'll say this: I outlasted him. Let's just put it that way. But a girlfriend of mine, she knew what I was going through because she was going through something similar with him. We were on the same team. And she gave me Romans 12:9, which is exactly what I needed. And it says, let love be genuine, abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good. And that just meant so much to me because it got me through that time. I had to remember that the evilness of the moment would very soon pass. I need to hold on to love, and I need to let love shine, and I need to make sure I stay true and good, no matter what was going on. So I keep that with me no matter what season I'm in, because it's a good reminder, and it's a good reminder for me on how I should treat people. There are always going to be people out there who may have more, or know more, or be better than I am at something. And I should not allow that to affect how I treat that person or how I receive that person. Because I'm a true believer that we can learn something from everyone. I know a lot about papercraft, but I can still learn from another paper crafter. I can still learn and do learn from new paper crafters because they see things differently. But evil will exist when we let it exist. And when we say no and we let light through, then evil doesn't stand a chance.
Amen. Amen. When you were thinking of leaving corporate America, I'm sure that was a heavy decision. Did you pray on that? What was your process? How did you know that you?
I prayed I would be laid off. That's what I prayed for. And I'm not lying when I say that. There were several times after I outlasted grad, there were several times when I would let my manager know, if ever we need to downsize, please put me on the list. I would never just quit a job and do that to Mike. But I was okay if you guys let me go, because I can say, okay, they decided they wanted to let me go. I didn't just quit. But I was so unhappy in corporate America. I was so unhappy playing the corporate game. And I had been with this company for over 16 years. And it truly was a game that was played. And it was that whole political office mess that goes on. And I was pretty tired of it. And every time that I would have, my performance review, and I'm a very forthright and very honest person. And I've always been a believer, if you don't ask me, if you don't want to know. And they would always ask you the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And my answer would always be, not here, God willing. Because and the thing was that I was good at what I did. So they knew, and I knew I was good at what I did, and I knew what I knew. But it just wasn't a healthy environment. It was just so toxic. And we get complacent when we've been with the company for so long, and, the paycheck is steady, and you don't quite know whether or not you should step out on faith. And, God hears our prayers, because in August 2017, my company said, we are relocating to Texas. Do you want to come? No, I don't. So I got laid off.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a whole lot of time off, and Mike was very tolerant, and I was debating whether or not I wanted to go back to corporate America. And I knew that the minute I applied for a job, I'm going to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2019, I applied for a job. Sure enough, I applied that day, got the call that afternoon, accepted the job. Worst mistake of my life. Mistake from day one. And I just knew that, okay, I hope this ends soon, because I can't do this. I just can't. It ended, and at that point, I told Mike, I said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I really want to make a go of what I'm doing with YouTube, so here I am.
And so was Posh Paper Lady born sometime after you left the first job? Or had you really always been Posh Paper Lady?
Posh Paper Lady has been around for a while, so I have been the Posh Paper. I started out as my paper fairy, because people used to tell me I was a paper fairy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'll go with that name. And then I didn't like it. So Posh Paper Lady has been around probably for about 8 years now. So it's been around for a while.
And your branding just is on point. I mean, what you do is, and I will speak outside of the actual projects that you do. I think your branding and just how you present yourself, the introductory videos are just really on point. Very well done. You know, you definitely know. I don't know you were doing in corporate America, but it's clear to me that you understand branding and all of that. So, so yeah, so that really works for you. You surprise us all the time with announcements and changes and things. So, what's next? Is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah, I will share this. I am not ready to show this, but I don't know if you noticed behind me. It looks a little different from my studio at home, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I relocated to a whole new studio. I still have my studio in my backyard, but I have been so surprised at how this has grown. And the need for more space was there. And unfortunately, in my community, I can't expand my craft studio anymore because of HOA rules. But it's just amazing how things work, because I woke up and I told Mike that I really think I need to get some more space because it's just so much. And I went online and office space became available in an old renovated hosiery mill.
Wow.
And it was exactly what I wanted. Exactly. And so I called the lady who had it, met her that afternoon, signed the lease the next day.
Mm.
I mean, everything just fell into place. So that's the news that I can share. I'm not ready to show the finished look because I'm still working on putting everything together, but I think it's beautiful. And it has the growing space that I need.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think we love going to the backyard with you.
Mm-hmm.
What will that become? Will that become a true she shed now, or were
No.
you...
So Mike wants it. He's not getting it, and I made that very clear. My daughter, she wants it. She's not getting it. I made that very clear. My plan is I will keep a studio there, and I will have this because there will be times when the weather might be so awful that I really don't want to get in the car and drive. It's probably easier for me just to go out to the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I'm not always going to be here, and that truly is a place at home that I'm able to just go to and reflect on the day. And, it's my colors, everything in it is mine. So, no, it won't become anything other than a crafting studio with a comfortable area for me to take a break. But it will always, and I will still film there most of the time because it's all of my camera mount, all of my stuff in there is mounted from the ceiling. All of my lights are on the ceiling. So it'll always be set up for recording.
Okay. So, I never know who's going to be listening. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone is listening and they are wondering, should I get into paper crafting? And if I do, who shall I follow? What would you say to them?
Okay, I would say yes, you should get into paper crafting because if you're looking for something rewarding, something that is easy to learn, despite how it might not look that way at face value. If you want to learn a craft that will bring you so much joy and satisfaction and allow you to create from the use of your own two hands something absolutely amazing, then paper crafting is the craft that you definitely want to be in. And of course, you should follow me. Why would you follow anyone else? You only need this channel.
And if there are people who are listening because they have a religious tradition or a faith, I can see taking any of your projects and turning them into, maybe more of a faith-based or even religious item. I think be very easy to do. You would just have to change the decor.
Right. So last year was my second holiday season, and I wanted it to be even more inclusive. So I was able to find some Hanukkah paper, and so I was able to do some Hanukkah crafting.
Mm.
This year, it was such a challenge. I was trying to find some Kwanzaa paper because I got asked about that a lot, and you can't find it. I mean, it's very difficult to find quality Kwanzaa papers, but I did, and I've ordered some, so it'll be here probably next week. So this holiday season, I am looking forward to crafting for various religious types, because I do believe that paper crafting should be all inclusive. And I don't know what I don't know. I didn't know anything about Hanukkah really, except it was the Jewish celebration.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little bit of research to educate myself a little, so that whatever I was doing would not be offensive. And that's very important to me. I don't want to make something just because I make it for, non-Jewish people. I use papers that are generally for the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And for non-Christmas celebrating people, I wanted to make sure that I captured the spirit of whatever it is that they celebrate, even though it might not be aligned with my faith. So that was very important to me, and that is still very important to me. And when people bring things to my attention, if they say, well, can you craft for this or this, help educate me on it. And I'll most certainly give it a try, because I don't know what is offensive in certain religions and what is not. And I would never want to do anything that was not representing anyone's religion in the best light. Because the one thing that I will say about this channel, and you've probably seen it in the premieres, we have people now commenting from all over the globe. And, this joy of paper crafting is the one thing that we all have in common. And I think that's a great starting point. So when people bring differences to that starting point, I want to be respectful of those. And I want to make sure that I celebrate and capture those in a way that is true to whatever faith or belief it is that they might have.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here and talking with me. I knew that I wanted to have you on the show just because I just think of joy when I go on and see your interactions with your fans, and just the passion that you have for what you do. And just like our opening statement from your fan, she's going to be a paper crafter now just because she can see the passion that you have for it. So. And I think that in this time, we all need a bit of passion and distraction.
We do. We all need a bit of passion, distraction, and kindness. I think now more than ever, we should hold on to each other and just be a little bit more kinder, a little more understanding, a little more tolerant. And we do those things. I think we'll get through this pandemic. Unfortunately, people's lives have been touched in such a negative way. And even when they make it through the pandemic, their lives will never be the same. But as a society, as a humanity, we can treat each other a whole lot better. And I'm a big believer in that. And this pandemic should not be something that divides us. It should be one of those things where we're all fighting together to defeat that one enemy, which is the pandemic. And that's so important.
Amen. Amen. Wise words. Well, Sherry, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Everyone, you can find her show on YouTube under Posh Paper Lady. She airs her videos in the mornings at 7 o'clock on the weekdays.
So during the week, it's actually 8 o'clock Eastern time?
It is. It is 8 o'clock Eastern time because I'm on Central. That is correct.
And Saturday and Sunday is 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
No, I think what I want people to know most of all about me is what you see on the channel is what you get. And the joy that you think that you might be seeing on the channel is not fake, it's real. What I express on the channel is real. And my respect for the time that people give me, because you don't have to, you have so many other ways that you can be spending your time. That time is so appreciated by me, and I can just never say it enough how thankful I am for the wonderful community that I'm a part of, and then this wonderful crafting family that we created online. And it's just a true blessing, honor, and privilege for me to even be involved with you guys on this level on YouTube. It just means the world to me.
Well, and you mean the world to us. So thank you for being there for us and making us happy. We really appreciate it. And listeners, thank you for listening as always. We appreciate you being here. If you have not, make sure you subscribe or follow this podcast. Or you can text the word PJOY, the letter P and the word joy all together to 22828, and you will receive emailed exclusive updates on upcoming episodes and contests and all kind of fun things like that. So we'd love for you to stay in touch. Thank you for being here. And as always, this has been the Positively Joy podcast. Farewell for now.